What was that call? Because I'm pretty sure they called you, right? Like
They called me.
It was.
And they were like, hey, we're in surgery. Just need to let you know that her heart stopped.
Damn.
I was just like, what? And the thing is that it wasn't all abusive. It wasn't, right? And the thing about it is that I was drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was an everyday drinker, but when I would drink,
You will drink.
I would drink,
Yeah.
yes. And like they say, right? Like Patricia comes out or somebody else, like somebody, and it's true. Like it just wasn't me.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fallout. I was just broken inside. There was no way I could, even with him or anybody,
Yeah.
right? It was just never going to work out. And he helped me to see a lot of things in a different set of light, which I am honestly very grateful. And he's actually the one that helped me see. One time I was FaceTiming him and I was out of town with my family, and my mom was so upset at me. She was just like talking so abusively to me.
Oh, shit.
And he was, the next following day, right, he was just like, hey, you realize that, you know, you have issues because of your mom.
Oh, damn.
And I was just like, I always thought it was my dad, you know? And I was
Yeah.
just like, you are so right. Like, it's true. Like, a lot of the things that I've always had my self-esteem was because of her. Like, and she doesn't see it, right? It's just generational. I don't blame her because that's all she knows.
Correct.
My grandparents, you know, same thing. And
Yeah.
it just goes on.
Yeah,
Like,
it goes on
it's
and
just
on, yeah.
generational. And they just think it's normal. Like just saying, you know, things that they think it's normal, but it's not.
Yes.
It has a meaning behind it, right? You just
Correct.
don't say things out of and they say things out of spite. And then they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
But it's still a wound, you know, it's still going to make a little wound in you. And I've realized that a lot.
Damn. That's
So,
crazy.
I know I sidetracked a little bit, but
No, you're good.
that
you're
was I was just broken in Dallas, and I just one day decided, I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I was like, I can't be broken by myself.
Correct.
I'm going to end up killing myself.
Yeah.
You know, I would lay down on my apartment, like on the floor, just crying and crying and crying.
Yeah.
And
Did you ever had those thoughts like I'm just gonna end it here?
yeah, I never really did anything,
Yeah.
but I would have very ugly panic attacks, where sometimes I would call my friends from here and they're just like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
You know, I lost a few friends because of that. They were just like, we can't help you. Like, you gotta help yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly very thankful, because when you're alone and when you are just like, oh man, like I am by myself, I need to make a change. That's when I was just like, all right, I need to do it for myself. I need to just go back home, figure myself out, and then, you know, figure out my life.
When you came back, did you went back with your mom, or did you get an apartment, or?
I went back with my mom because I left everything in Dallas.
Oh,
I put
shit.
everything in storage. And the reason why I did that was because I honestly had hope to go back.
Okay, yeah.
I was just like, I'm going to leave my stuff here.
Just
And
in case.
Yeah, and everything was just so expensive. And where am I going to put it? I couldn't afford an apartment anyways. It was a mixture of a lot of things. It was, rent was going up.
Yeah.
Dallas is expensive. It was getting very, very expensive. My rent was going up to $1,700
Oh, damn.
for one bedroom
Oh,
apartment.
no. That's a lot.
And I like to live life comfortably, right? Like, I like to be able to enjoy things.
Yeah.
And then again, I was still drinking and I was just not saving money.
Correct.
And so I was just like, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
I just was like, you know what, I gotta leave.
What
gotta
was
go
that
back
conversation with your brother, though, when you came back?
Oh, he was happy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He never was like, I told you. Like, that was another, yeah?
But I would come very often to El Paso.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Just like you, remember?
yeah. I would be like every 2 weeks. Yeah, I was here.
I mean, especially during COVID, I would come maybe every month or two.
Okay.
Yeah, I was coming a lot. I made that drive.
Yeah.
My
That's
poor
nice.
dog, she was just
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
am tired of this, mom. What's going on?
Yes.
But
That. Well, talk to me about your dogs, because I know it was hard for you when you.
you lost my
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. But she was the one that actually went through everything with you, huh?
I'm like, enough, Anita.
Yeah, you're good.
Yes, she did. I got her in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved back to Dallas and I got my apartment, I was like, I don't want to live by myself.
Yeah.
Like, I need a little partner. So I got her, and she went through everything with me.
Okay.
So she was my little support dog. If it wasn't
Yes.
for her, I probably would have
Yeah.
done something to myself. I don't
Oh,
know.
shit.
But she was the one that kept me alive.
Nice.
And gave light to my life. I would take her out. I mean, Dallas is so beautiful where, there are so many parks, so many trails, lakes. So
Damn,
she
yeah.
lived a good life out there. She really did.
Nice. And what happened exactly with her? Like,
So she had puppies.
okay.
And that's why I have Luca.
Yeah.
Because I kept one of her puppies.
Yes.
And she had surgery. I was just like, okay, well, I don't want any more puppies, or it was just a one thing done. She had surgery, and things got complicated where she needed another surgery.
Okay.
I took her to the hospital here in El Paso, and within hours she passed.
Okay.
Her heart stopped during the surgery. I don't know if it was due to like the what is it called, the NAMU, the
The
anesthesia.
anesthesia, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people were saying that. I
Okay.
don't know why her heart stopped so many times during the surgery. I was just not prepared for that at all. It came
Not at all, yeah.
suddenly.
And especially, I mean, like you said, she was there with
She
you
was
since
my
the beginning,
everything,
day
yeah.
one, and then
Ellie.
because you knew she was going to surgery, but you were not expecting.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I really didn't think anything. Like, it did not even cross my mind.
What was that call? Because I'm pretty sure they call you, right? Like
They called me.
and was
And
like,
they were like, hey, we're in surgery. Just need to let you know that her heart stopped.
damn.
I was just like, what? And then, but we got her back.
Okay.
I was like, but we need to call you to tell you that. And then again, and I mean, I knew the phone number, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, why are they calling again? It's so fast.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it happened again, but, just let you know, her heart is very weak. I think they called me 3-4 times.
Oh, shit.
And by the third time they called me, because I was at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were like, well, they told us it was going to take a while.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, you can go home. And I told my mom, I was like, let's go. Like, let's go. On our way there, and it's like a block away, the animal hospital from my mom's house. And while we're driving, they called me, and they were just like, I'm so sorry, she did not make it. And it was just
Damn.
like, the pain, uncontrollably, just like
Yeah.
sobbing, like couldn't believe it. It was just like, pinch me. I can't believe this is true.
Yeah.
Losing a dog is, a lot of people might think it's just a dog, but it was my
not.
daughter. It
Yeah.
was my baby who went through so much with me, who was my rock
Yeah.
during hard times, my best friend. So that was very tough. And thank God, I thank God for so many reasons. And I think things happen for a reason. And I have Luca, which she left me a piece of her.
Oh yes.
And he, honestly, thank God to him, because if not, I don't know. I would have been more heartbroken.
And is it me or they really look alike?
They do look
Yeah,
alike.
kind of.
He resembles her, like his
Yeah.
attitude. He's such an amazing dog. He really is.
Nice.
I love him so much.
Now, did you had a chance like to actually go in and say
see her?
goodbye?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
they brought her to me. I was able to stay in the room as long as I wanted
Yeah.
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you had the chance to say goodbye, so I think that's good. As a closure,
See you later.
Yes, exactly. Damn. Okay, so that happened, and then you were not here in El Paso yet, right? When that happened, or you already moved? Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Was already back. I was already living my own apartment.
Okay. So then, what happened that?
My life changed.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So what happened that changed your life? Like, you are the Nayeli that you are right now, but what happened? Because again, like, I mean, we know each other, we have a good relationship, but it's not like I call you every single day, right? And stuff like that. But again, I noticed your change because all of a sudden, like, I'm putting too much effort into the TikTok thing, and then all of a sudden, like, your videos pop, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this is Nayeli." And then you're talking about God, you're talking about no drinking, you're talking about fitness, eating well. So, talk to me and help us if someone that it knows you and it's listening or watching this, like, what happened?
Well, I don't think I've talked about it in my TikToks, about why I ended up in the, where I am. But I've always gone to therapy. I mean, Verizon, again, they should sponsor us.
Right? Yeah, sponsor me, dude. That's crazy.
They have a great program, right? EAP. So ever since then, I remember I've always been in therapy.
Okay.
But then after that, I found this great therapist, which she's more like a holistic therapist.
Oh, nice.
Here in El Paso. But it was during the COVID times where everything was virtual.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, holistic, it's like with the energies or
Yes,
yeah, okay, perfect.
exactly, with the energies. And her thing, I mean, of course, like we talk about, childhood, all of these things. And then she suggested, she was just like, well, have you ever thought about going to AA? And I was just like, what? No. I thought that was a wild suggestion. I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. She's just like, you know what, you should try it. She's like, just give it a shot. She didn't say like you need to, or like, she's just like, it's a suggestion, it's out there, just go. They're very friendly, and so I went.
Okay.
And I went, and I was just like, wow, this is actually pretty nice.
Is it what, like, because I know every single
circle,
movie.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like that, or?
It's actually like more like a class setting.
Okay.
So it's a room where you have tables and you have chairs. So not everybody's facing each other. Everybody's just facing one person who is kind of lecturing.
Okay.
But it was actually very welcoming.
Okay.
I was the youngest one.
Okay.
And I saw a lot of older people, but it was all sorts of people.
Okay.
Like all sorts of people are in there. And
so what took you though? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I know she mentioned like, hey, you should try it. But what did actually happen that you were like, oh, you know what? Okay, let's just give it a try.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? I know that alcohol has been a big factor in my life that has ruined a lot of things for me.
Correct.
So you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. So I decided to go, and it was, oh my God, it was so hard to go in there. I was just like, oh my God, what are people going to think? They're gonna think I'm an alcoholic, like I shouldn't be here. But
like people in there, you were afraid of them, like they will judge you.
Yes, I don't know why I thought
not
so.
too much the people outside. You were concerned. That too. Okay.
Everybody. I was just like, what if somebody sees me going in here?
Yeah.
Like so many things were just where I just did not want to go inside. But being in there, I was just like, wow, this is actually pretty nice. Like people were so welcoming. There's stories where literally almost the same as mine.
Okay.
Their emotions, their thought process, their everything was just very, very similar to my situation. And I kept going. I stopped drinking. I stopped drinking for a month.
Okay.
And then I just stopped going.
Okay.
This was, I think I want to say like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So then I still kept living my life, same old ways.
So you went back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal.
Drinking, partying.
Partying. And then I was experiencing a lot of anxiety attacks.
Okay.
Where it was just a situation happened with my family where I just was not okay with my brother. Like we were not in good talking terms. And that caused a lot of anxiety in my life. Yeah. And I was just like, I can't be dealing with this. Like, this is really bad. So in December, I was just like, all right, I'm going to go back to AA. This was December of last year.
Okay.
I decided to go back in, and I was just like, this time I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to do the whole program. And their first step is you have to believe in a higher power in order for you to stop drinking.
And any high power, right? They don't tell
They
you
don't
like...
tell you which God. You can Buddha, whoever, right? But it's a very religious place.
Okay.
Like, you have to believe in God.
Okay.
Right. If your God is Buddha, then
that's
we're gonna call him God.
Yeah.
And then the second step is you have to submit yourself 100% fully into them.
Okay.
You have to literally give your life to them. And I was like, okay. Which I've always gone to Abundant, my church. But making that step with AA, it made me fully submit myself to God.
Okay.
And that's when my life changed. Everything changed.
Nice. And what was that process? Because like you said, you will go to church to service, but this time was different. I think this time was with a purpose, I guess.
Exactly.
Right?
It was just exactly. It was with the purpose of, God, you're healing me. I know that you're with me. You are going to make me a better person. I'm going to stop drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm going to heal. And it was tough. I'm not going to lie. In the beginning, it was just like the enemy was attacking me all the time, where it was just like, oh, but just have one drink.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's fine. And I was just like, no. There was a lot of stressful moments, sad moments. I had to sit in my emotions.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the hardest part when you stop drinking, because a lot of times when I would have a stressful day at work, when I would feel sad, when I would feel angry, oh, you know what, my friends, hey, let's go to headquarters. Let's go have a drink. And then you just kind of forget about all those things, right? You're just kind of bearing them. But those emotions are going to come up some way, somehow.
Correct.
And so that's kind of what was happening when I was going through that detox. And emotions were coming up. I was doing the whole process with my sponsor with AA.
Okay.
A lot of healing goes through, like, literally, it's honestly something that a lot of people don't really realize, but with AA, it's like free therapy.
Nice.
It really is. And it's more like it digs deep into your childhood, why you are the way you are, and why you drink the way you drink. So
now, what was the, like, your sponsor, right? What do they do? Like, they talk to you on a daily basis, like every week, every day, or?
we would meet up every week.
Okay.
And we just like us, we would talk.
Yeah.
And then
are they like people that end the program and they're now like trying to help? Okay, got you.
So they were alcoholics.
Yes.
And they went through the whole process. They went through everything.
Okay.
And they became sponsors to help people. And it's all free.
Yeah,
like it's I mean, they're volunteers to help people.
So they're
out.
doing it like from the heart, honestly, because they're not getting paid. They're nothing. They're just.
And their life literally revolves around Jesus.
Nice.
So I think that's one of the biggest things, where it's like, it's such a blessing to be able to be around people who believe in that and that truly give their lives to God.
Now, because I'm pretty sure you remember my good friend Mike.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was in a situation where he was really into church.
Oh, okay.
But then he realized that, and again, I don't know if all like church are like this or if this just was a specific church, but it got to a point where they were asking like for,
money.
I believe 90% of his paycheck or 80% of paycheck, something like that, crazy, right? And I was like, dude, like, because I do remember, and I'm sorry, Mike, if I'm not supposed to share this story with you, but I mean, he was in business, and that's why I got into business, right? So I remember they were making good money, right? But I remember one day that we were going to lunch, and he was like, nah, dude, like, it's okay, because I don't have money. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah, dude, no. Yeah. And I was like, dude, we just got paid. What do you mean you don't have money? No, it's because... And he was kind of scared, like, to tell me what's going on. And I was like, dude, you know what? I got you. You get me next time. Like, let's go to lunch. And then after that, and then after years passed, right, and we became friends, then he told me like, hey dude, it's because this is what's going on, and that's why I didn't have money at all. And it was until a point where I realized like, hey dude, like I'm making good money, but I'm not living the lifestyle that I want for me and for my family. And that's when it clicked. And he's super close to God now, but in his own way.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess with all this story and everything,
Yeah.
like my question to you was like, when you got into the path that you are right now and everything, did you expect for them to be like, hey, now, okay, for you, if you give us money, now you're going to be closer to God or stuff like that? Because, I mean, we all see them like in movies and stuff like that,
Right.
that's the classic thing they do.
Right. Yeah.
Were you expecting that, or were you actually like completely open-minded and be like, okay, let's see what happens?
It's a great question, especially because recently I was talking to somebody, I was having a conversation with them, and I brought up my church, and I was like, yeah, I go to Abundant. I'm very proud of my church.
Nice.
I honestly, I love all the pastors. I go to so many of their events. I got baptized through them.
Oh, nice.
So to me, I love them. It's a part of me. And with this person, he was talking to me. He's just like, so you go to Abundant? He's like, yeah. He was like, oh, I never liked that church. And I was like, oh, okay, well, tell me your experience. Yeah. He was like, well, it's because I went one time and all they talked about was tithing, which is like giving the money, giving money to the church. And he's just like, that's all they want is just your money. And I'm like, you know what? I did have that when, I've been going to Abundant for a few years already, but not consistently. Not like I go now, which is I go even on Wednesdays.
Oh, nice.
But back then I was just like, well, it is kind of weird. I just didn't like that. But knowing that they do so much for the community, for example, they do these events for women. So it's called the Women's Conference, and it's just for women, and they talked about how many women they actually help. So if you have an abusive relationship, if your children can't afford, if you can't feed your children, even just to help you get out of your house, if it is an abusive relationship, Abundant will help you get on your feet.
Oh, nice.
And I get goosebumps just honestly thinking about it, because yes, of course, they do ask for money, but they give so much back to the community. Okay. They do that every year. They give so many backpacks to all the schools and shoes.
Yeah.
They give out shoes. During COVID times, they were giving out boxes of food.
Yeah.
Anybody could go. All you needed is just your ID.
And you don't even have to show that you go to them, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Like, and what's crazy? Another wild thing that I just remembered. When I was little and my dad was in prison, they knocked on our door. And they were like, hi, we're here from Abundant. We would like to invite you to our church, and we would love to bring you some gifts. Okay. They brought us some gifts.
Nice.
Like, we were raised Catholic.
Yeah,
my family's still Catholic. For them to just come into our house out of the blue and they brought us gifts. They brought me and my brother presents. Nice. How did they know? I have no idea. Like, right. I really do not know. And we ended up going. My mom was like, yeah, we should go. We ended up going during Christmas. It was like a Grinch little performance. It was so nice. They had so many gifts for kids. And it's honestly something that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give to them. Yeah. They do not require me to pay. They're not like, hey, you better give 90% of your paycheck. Yeah. They're just like, whatever you can give, just, it's for everybody, right? There is a lot of generous people. When I become a millionaire, I know that I will be, of course, giving back to them a lot more than I can, right? But whatever I can. I mean, if it's $20 once a month, or if sometimes I don't give anything, right? Yeah. Depending on the situation. But I just love that they do that. And knowing that they help so many people in El Paso, it's just so amazing.
And you know what? It's funny, and it's kind of shocking to me because, I mean, my whole family too, like desde mis primos chiquitos católicos, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember one of my friends, actually, we went to Abundant. It was on the east side, I believe. They have one on the east
Yeah,
side?
they
Yeah.
have, it's
And
the
it
main
was,
one.
yeah. And he just invited me out of nowhere. Like, hey, dude, like, I have my kids. Like, do you want to go with us in service? Because he was doing his healing process too. And I was trying to be that supportive friend, right? And be like, yeah, okay, let's go. And it was just shocking to me when I walked in and it was like everyone like, hey, hi,
So
everything.
happy.
They had like a little Starbucks. Like, of course, not Starbucks, but you can buy like coffee, food, and then you go to the service. But it's not like, and I'm sure, I mean, there's formal like services, right? But it was just like a conversation with is it the pastor that it's up
Yes.
front? Yeah. So it was just like he having a conversation about his experience, and then of course he will like attach God to that story,
Yes.
and it was like, okay, this is crazy
It's
because
different.
when you grow up in that mentality, right, that side of the church, I guess, you're used to go to the mass and you're
Like
used to
seeing us,
exactly sitting
pray,
down, exactly, you are
kneel
used to
down.
follow
Yeah.
exactly like a process in a way, right? And again, I mean, I understand completely the process. I'm not trying to disrespect any religion,
Right.
right? But it was shocking to me that it was completely different.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shoot. Because in a way though, I always been close to God, and he actually has helped me a lot on every freaking situation that I asked help for. But again, it's not like me going to every Sunday right to mass. It's like,
Right.
no, I have a different kind of connection. And
Yeah.
when I went there, I was like, okay, like this is maybe kind of my connection that I
Yes.
have.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't have to follow like a script. You don't have to do this kneeling and then no, people were dancing, were sitting down, were up, were like walking around, and it was, and of course when the pastor was talking, it was like, okay,
Everybody
everyone's
sits
paying
down.
attention, right? Yeah, but they have music, they had like a band and everything, and I was like, I remember telling my friend like, dude, this is way different. Like, what the heck is going on? Like,
Exactly.
are you sure this is
Church.
church? Like, yeah, what are we doing here? So looking to that side and everything, it was like, okay, wow, like maybe people that they have just one bad experience, they are like, oh no, church is this, church is that, and you don't really like realize exactly what they're doing, just
Yeah.
like you mentioned right now. Like, yeah, they do ask for money, right? But they
But they give back. And
exactly,
that's my biggest thing, right? Everybody has to get paid.
yeah,
And then this person that I was having this conversation with, he was just like, "Oh, but they have a very nice house and they drive these fancy cars." And I'm like, as they should. If I'm a pastor, I expect to have a good living life. Like
yeah,
Jesus is going to come in and give back to me, right? I mean, why would I want my pastor to be living in a little tiny studio apartment or, like,
true,
hey, like I want them to be able to travel the world, do whatever they want. I
okay,
want them to live a good life. Everybody deserves to live a good life,
okay,
you know?
nice,
And yes, being raised Catholic, and
yeah,
recently, actually, my mom mentioned to me. I didn't know because nobody really like told me. As my family, they're not like, why is Nayeli a Christian now, or
oh
why is she?
okay, they never questioned
They
you,
never questioned me
okay,
until recently. One of my aunts talked to my mom, and she was just like, "Hey, why is Nayeli in the Christian? Like, why did she get baptized? And just
oh
like
damn,
that is just so strange. Like, and not in a negative way, but was just like, that's weird,
yeah,
right?"
like what's going on?
Yeah, but my mom was just like, no, my mom actually comes with me to church.
Oh nice,
Yeah, so
okay,
I was raised Catholic, and I mean, when I remember when I hated going to church, right? I just didn't like it. It was boring. I didn't
yeah,
know what they were talking about most of the time. Like, I mean, I have my first communion, my everything. I don't remember much of it. I really don't. I don't remember what the Bible said, to be
yeah.
honest. I think I just went because I had to.
Right.
But
As
it
a
was,
kid, like, hey, wake
yeah,
up, we have to go to church.
yes. And it
Yeah.
was like, te va a castigar Dios.
Yes.
And that was the mentality that I always grew up on. God's going to punish me.
Yeah.
And with the Christian church, it's the complete opposite. It's like, God does not punish you. God
Okay.
does not punish you at all. God is love and peace, and He wants the best for everybody.
Nice.
And that's when I was just like, okay, this is my house. This is my church.
Nice.
And I just fell in love with and even like, for example, the music, right? The worshiping, right? It was what it's called, worshiping, when you sing and praise to God. I would always feel like, oh, this is a little awkward, like, in the beginning. And now if you see me, I'm like all about it. I'm like, that's my meditation, actually.
Nice.
I fully am in the presence of God when I'm worshiping to him. And it's such an amazing feeling. And I actually do it at home. I do it in the car.
Nice.
I do it at church. It's just feeling the connection and praising him, thanking him,
Nice.
So
Now let's go
beautiful.
back a little bit though before you actually got like 100% into the church.
Yeah.
Were you afraid like to talk to God and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry that I've been away for this long, and now that I need you, I'm here." Like, were you afraid of that? And because you mentioned like, oh, I was afraid of judgment when I
Yeah.
went there but also like, were you afraid to like be judged
By God.
God, yeah, and be like, because I know at the end of the day though, they always say and they tell us like God will never judge you, right? But again, if you're not educated in that aspect, you are gonna go with that mentality, like you said, like no, es que Dios te va a castigar, right? But were you
I was
thinking
actually
like
not
no,
afraid.
nothing?
No.
Okay,
I knew that, and especially hearing, because there's a book, right, and it's the AA book, the Alcoholics Anonymous, and literally it just talks about God, like the presence of God, and helping and healing. Like, you can go to therapy, you can do so many different types of things as an alcoholic, but the only way that it's been effective is by God. Like, it's just
wow.
it's in the book, right? And it's like a Bible for alcoholics, or anybody actually, and because you can substitute alcohol with any type of addiction, right?
Yeah.
It could be gambling, it could be addiction to
Anything, yeah.
marijuana, cigarettes, or anything, right? Any addiction that has control over your life.
Yes.
Alcohol had control over my life. So that's when you realize that you need that help. And I would recommend to anybody, if you have any sort of addiction that has a control over your life, even like pornography or anything,
Yeah.
it's out there, and help is out there. And the only way out is by reaching to that higher power and submitting yourself to God, and knowing that God was not going to judge me. And I've seen so many beautiful reels, like on TikTok and Instagram, where it says like, God loves the people who, the people that, walk through the dark side and now has come to the light side. Jesus loves them even more.
Correct.
Like, he just appreciates you, loves you, and is going to take care of you. Because compared to somebody who's lived throughout the whole entire life just within the light, you don't know the dark side. And for you to choose the light over the dark, it just makes you 1,000 times more beautiful inside and out.
Correct.
And that to me has always stayed with me. And I know that I've just become 100 times more valuable as a person.
Nice.
Having that.
Now, talk to me when you actually like 100% to the church, mass. When did you start realizing those changes in your life? Like, you were like, oh shoot, like I feel better. Like, oh shoot, my relationship, I don't know, with my family changing, with my friends, at work. Like, talk to me about those little details.
Yeah. So, at first, I mean, it was tough, right? I was going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
Not where I was like sweating or like, but I remember though, I did have a lot of headaches. In the beginning, it was horrible, and I was so tired all the time. It is wild because I'm not the one that was drinking Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
But I was drinking, at least once a week.
Okay.
And it was not one or two, it was maybe 5, 6, 10, right?
Okay.
And leaving that completely, I was like, I'm not going to go through withdrawals. Oh, I went through withdrawals. I was extremely tired. Like, I wanted to sleep all the time. I had excessive headaches. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, wow, it was tough.
It's a lot.
It was a lot. And for me to be able to go through that whole withdrawal process and just cleansing myself, going to my therapy with my sponsor, it was just like everything. Speaking to her, writing things down, reading, listening to podcasts, reading the Bible, worshiping God, everything little by little. And my biggest thing that I would always, when I'm in prayer, I always ask God, like, rewire my brain, make me more like you, God. You know, make my heart like yours. I want your heart, not mine. Nice. And that's when it's just like, I've just been more patient. I have peace in my life. Like, my job is very stressful. If my boss sees this, he knows how much I've been through. Like, it's just things over. And it seems like, and it's kind of true. Because they say, like, whenever you are already, like, submitted to God, many bad things are going to happen to you. And it's kind of true. Like, and there was times, and I know you recently asked me, right? You're like, well, you're fully commissioned.
Yeah.
I had some rough months recently where I didn't know how to pay rent.
Correct.
And if I don't close a certain loan on a certain date, I don't get paid until, like, almost a month later.
True.
So I remember I was just, like, right on the dot. I was about to close the loan. It ended up not closing on time because the refrigerator wasn't in.
Oh, shit.
It means that I had to close the next day, and that was going to be for the following month.
Oh,
and
damn.
Rent was due. I just remember sitting in my office, and I'm just like numb. I was like, I need a moment. And I get in my car, because I knew I was about to start crying. Like, it was just so much stress, so much hard work was put in this, and then for that to happen. I get in my car and I start driving, and I'm crying, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like, God, like, help me see the light through you. Like, it's always your will, not my will, right? Everything is in your perfect timing. Everything is. I'm sobbing. I'm, like, crying. Like, I don't even know how I'm driving. And I work close by, so and I finally, like, literally feel his presence and just calm. Like, everything just was like waves, you know, like listening to the ocean, just like waves. Nice. And I was like, everything's going to be okay. And I stopped. And I was just like, everything is going to be okay. And then I was like, everything's going to be okay. Like, this happens to people. It's okay. I call my apartment complex, and I'm like, hey, you know, this is a situation. They're like, oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, well, yeah, of course. And I was like, well, how much is it? They're like, oh, it's just going to be like $25. And then after that, it was like probably like $50 more.
Yeah.
If I was late, you know, until I got paid.
Correct.
I was like, Jesus Christ, like.
It was like a relief.
Like, God is like, you are amazing, Jesus. Like, living with him, like, I just know everything's going to be okay. No matter how much the enemy attacks, and no matter how hard the situation is, I know that I'm going to be okay.
Nice.
You know, there's always an answer to everything. There's always a way out, right? Yeah. And it's just like, it's so nice. Like, back in the day, if I was like drinking, I would have been like crying, and then I would have gone to like Cincy bar or something.
Yeah.
And then like cried there, and then forgot about it, like figured things out.
Yeah.
Put it on my credit card, and then like made it worse.
Correct.
So
damn, that's crazy. Just to start closing it out, Nayeli, 2 questions for you. Okay. So number 1, this path to God has been the way that you expect it to be?
No, I did not. Going in, and another thing that made me choose this path was because I realized I'm not getting any younger. I'm 32 years old. I want a family. I want kids. I want to get married. And I'm like, obviously my relationships have failed. Well, why, right? I realized it's myself. And I'm like, you know what? I need to become the person. I need to become that wife. I need to become that mother. And that's when everything just started, you know, falling into place. But I never expected to have this much peace and happiness in my life, to be honest.
Nice.
I didn't know much better. So it's been an amazing journey. And I'm just so blessed, so thankful to have everything that happened in my life. I'm grateful for, because I needed to be in this situation, and I needed to be here.
Nice.
So, no, it was not what I expected.
No. I mean, but it's going pretty well.
Oh, it's going,
right.
yeah.
And then, final question for you: someone that is going through the same things that you went through, and maybe they're afraid of, should I take that step? Should I be closer to God, or should I go to AA? Right? Or should I just take the next step? And they're thinking about it. They're doubting themselves. What's some piece of advice that you can tell them?
Do it. Honestly, a lot of people are like, listen to your heart. And it's like, no, listen to Jesus. Listen to his word. His word is so beautiful. It's in the Bible. The most written word on the Bible is fear. Do not fear. And literally, life is about not having fear. And you need to take that step in order to reach out to him, to not be feared. Like, don't have any fear. God is just love and peace, and making that step, reaching out to, trust me, anybody that you reach out to that is a Christian, or that is an AA, or that is, abundant, they will more than happy, open their arms to you. And myself as well. I would, if you're having any issues or you don't know where to start, I am more than happy to help anybody with that.
Nice.
And it takes a lot. It really does. I have a lot of friends that are going through a lot of things, and I try to push them to, to come to me, to come to the church, to do certain ways. At the end of the day, everybody, is on their own will. I can't force anybody, but when I tell them, I'm not going to force it on them. I'm not going to tell them to stop drinking because I stopped drinking, or, but I always tell them, I'm always here for you. If you want me to share any of my new wisdom, or, if you want to pray together, if you want to read the Bible together, you want to come to church, I'm always, always open for that.
Nice. Nayeli, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for trusting me in telling your story, right? It was just amazing. Super happy to see the changes that you're done and that are going to be in your life. Super excited for that. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I've always listened to your podcast, and I'm just like, hopefully one day, and here I am making my, my life change. So I'm really happy, and I hope I can change somebody's life one day.
Actually, where can they find you? Like your social media?
Yeah.
What's
Instagram, Nayeli knows. Well, it's nayeli.knows-home-loans. Facebook, Nayeli Ciriza, and TikTok. I think it's. My TikTok is.
I think you have a different name.
Yeah, I have two different TikToks. One is for my home loans, and then the other one is more like a personal, where I talk about my journey.
And I'll link them in the description. But thank you guys. Thank you so much for staying all the way to the end. If you did, please subscribe, share. I know this content will help someone out there. Okay. But thank you guys. See you guys in the next one.
Thank you. Blessings to everybody.